because I'm a very sad person. No, I don't know. I think you know, Moon was something where I was writing from a very personal place, and you know, I'd been a bit down at the time when I wrote it, but there was some issues that I really thought would be, you know, interesting to channel in a creative way, and those came out in Moon. Source Code was obviously not my script, so it was a very different situation. It was written by Ben Ripley. It was a script that Jake Gyllenhaal was a big fan of and wanted me to take a look at. And I read it and thought, actually, you know, there's a lot of things that I find interesting about this script and opportunities, I think, for me to do something creative. So I think that subject matter, as far as Source Code goes, was maybe more a subconscious choice than anything that I was trying to do. Moon, definitely, it was something I was trying to do. Well, you know, one of the things that I've been really enjoying about since Source Code came out is that we can actually now start talking about what things mean, and it's been fun to see the internet discussions. I don't want to steer anyone too far. I would say that the film starts in a single reality, and that reality is something which is split off by the end of the film, and we're in a parallel reality at the very end of the film. I'm not sure. I mean, I am going to carry on in science fiction for one more film. That's for sure. As far as Doctor Who goes, I'm incredibly sorry, but I need to actually catch up with what Doctor Who's been up to since they restarted it. I've been out of the loop. I was on Moon, and then I was straight onto Source Code, and I haven't really been keeping up to speed with Doctor Who, so I have to see what it's like. But if they offered, I could think about it. Westerns. Every director's got to do a Western at least one Western in your life. But the one that I think would be really good fun is well, growing up and now, I loved those guys on a mission movies, in particular the World War II ones. You know, like Dirty Dozen and A Bridge Too Far and Where Eagles Dare. And when Quentin Tarantino did his Inglourious Basterds one, I got very excited and very jealous. And I loved that movie. I thought it was really good fun. And I think by the time I'm ready to do a film like that, I think Tarantino's film will have been enough in the past that there may be an appetite for another one of those. So I'd love to take a crack at one of them. There will never be a direct sequel to Moon on film. I'm very specific in my text there. There will never be a direct sequel to Moon on film. There will, however, possibly, you know, if I get to make Mute, and Mute is a project I've been trying to make for a long time, if I do get to make that film, there will be a Sam Rockwell as Sam Bell cameo, and you know, I think it fits in really nicely with that story, which is a completely independent story. But you'll get a little bit of an epilogue to Moon in that film. Yeah, I mean, I was trying to work out when it was that I was living there, and I think it was in the mid to late 70s, when it really was heart of the Cold War. The wall was still up, and it was, you know, flying into Berlin in that time period. It was, you were literally flying across and into Soviet territory back when the Soviets were really terrifying. And you would land in Berlin, which was like this little oasis of the West. And it was incredibly scary and exciting, very vibrant city. And I have really strong memories of that. And I would love to find a way to you know, in film, to create that feeling of what that city was like at that period of time. And the fact that since Germany's reunified, Berlin has just become this incredibly exciting city, because what used to be East Berlin used to be full of socialist buildings that were big, like, government buildings, and they've all been repurposed. So there's a lot of them have been turned into nightclubs or residences, and it's just such a weird place, and it's changed so dramatically so fast. And it makes me wonder, like, if Berlin continued to change at that pace for the next 30 or 40 years, what would it become? And for me, that makes it this sort of ideal location for a science fiction film. I can't tell you, but it will be there. I definitely find, I know already of a place that I want it to be. So it'll get in there.
If it's futuristic, though, science fiction could come from anywhere, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, no, we'll find that it's going to be more difficult if I try and do a Western.
Exactly.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of remakes or sequels, but I would love to work with him one day, but it'll be a while before I ever do it. I think, you know, I'm only 2 films into my career as a director, and if I'm ever going to take on that responsibility of having to work with my dad, I want to be absolutely damn sure that I'm a good enough director to do it. And you know, I think I need a few more films before I'm ready for that. It's you know you know I'm very it's lovely to be for that rumor to be spreading. I don't know, you know, I've been so busy doing the press for Source Code that I know that there's a lot of meetings and a lot of people I have to sort of catch up with when I get back to where I'm now living in Los Angeles. It feels weird to say that, living in Los Angeles, but you know, under the right conditions, I would love to have the chance to do one of those big films, but you know, there's also, I have a lot of projects of my own. That's my main goal, is to make the films that I write myself, you know, and I want to make sure that I set that as my priority.